Hi, and welcome to my ARC review of By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult. I am a huge Jodi fan. I have met her a couple times when she's been on tour over the years for her books. This one is her 30th book, and of her 30 books, I've read 18. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of every single one of her books. Favorite one is probably Second Glance, which isn't one of her more known books, but it was also the first book I ever read by her, and that one happened to be an ARC as well. This one I was able to get a digital e-ARC from Edelweiss for free, so thank you to the publisher, Penguin Random House, for allowing me to read this before the publication date. It comes out on August 20th. And I really enjoyed this book. Jodi is known for her controversial themes over the years. She has covered a lot of different subject matters such as the death penalty, gun control, abortion, gender identity. There are a lot of things she covers, and one of the things that I've always loved about her writing is I don't feel you would necessarily know what side she's on for any of those. I always feel like she presents both sides of whatever argument, and I feel she then makes you think of things you may not have considered depending on how you side on any of those controversial topics. This one, though, I don't know how much I would say it is a controversial topic. I would say she's covering women's rights in a way. But this one was a very interesting and different book for Jodi. I don't feel like this one felt like a typical Jodi book to me. So the storyline for this one is a dual timeline. And first you see Melina Green. She's a young playwright, current day, and she is struggling to get her work heard and seen in the current, I would say, Broadway world. I'm not very familiar with it, so I don't know what to call it, but she's trying to get her play seen, and she really feels she's being discriminated against because she's a female. Her ancestor in her play happens to be someone who was alive when William Shakespeare was alive, and her name is Amelia Bassano, and it is a real person in history. And here's a picture of Amelia Bassano. So Jodi had researched. One of the things she's known for is she heavily researches the topic for all of her books. And she researched Amelia, and she really feels confidently that some of the works that were credited to Shakespeare were actually Amelia Bassano. And she does present her case very well. And I'm not even necessarily talking about in the fictional work that she just wrote, but she has a lot of notes at the end of this book, and I did read an interview as well, and she presents a pretty solid case that it's a possibility that Amelia was someone who wrote some of the plays for Shakespeare. She's not saying all of them, and I think she and some scholars think that William Shakespeare didn't necessarily write all of his plays. There are people that think he may have written some of them, and that he put his name on others. And there's also been rumors that other huge playwrights of that day may have been the writer, true author of those plays, one of which is Christopher Marlowe, who does make an appearance in this book. And so for this book, she weaves both current day, you go back and forth, current day with Melina, and then you also see Amelia Bassano and her whole life in the past, in the 1500s. And I really feel it did a great job, but I'm also a huge Shakespeare fan. I was an English major, and though that topic never came up when I was in college about William Shakespeare's authorship, I would say a few years after I was out of college, I did read a few articles about people that were debating if William Shakespeare really did write his plays. And there's a lot, I'm not going to get into all the evidence that there is in terms of how he probably isn't the author of those plays. There are people just as adamant that he did write all of those plays. And who knows? I mean, there's no way for us to really know. What I really love about this is she's really showing that though things have come a long way for women, there are still a lot of battles that women face in getting their voices heard. Seeing what Amelia Bassano goes through back in the 1500s, when it was such an extreme of how much women don't have a voice, it's really hard to see that. And then current day, hard to compare, but current day obviously not as hard. But what I really loved what she showed about current day is that it turns into a Shakespearean comedy of what happens with her play. So Melina has a play that she really wants to put into this contest, and when she sees who is judging it, she decides that she doesn't even want to try because that person really tore her down in college, and she felt that he, just the way this person is, that he would just not listen or give her a fair chance because she's a woman. So her best friend ends up putting it into the contest, but he edits her name to make it look like it's a male playwright. The Shakespearean comedy began. I felt it was really well done. I am a huge fan of Jodi's because she just knows really how to do character development, and she very much tugs on the heartstrings. I feel like you end up being very emotional in all of Jodi's books. So that part towards the end definitely felt like a typical Jodi book when you start to really see what is happening with the characters at the end of the book. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really very much enjoyed it, and I would suggest anyone who is a huge fan of fiction, especially if you love character development. Jodi does human relationships very well, but also if you love Shakespeare and anything that has to do with the historical 1500s, this would be for you too. If you are dead set against thinking Shakespeare wrote all of his plays, this might actually upset you. And she, in her afterward, she does mention how her topics have been controversial, and she gets a lot of hate mail. A lot of people don't like that she talks about some of these controversial subjects. And she actually thinks she's going to get a lot of hate mail from people with this one as well because, well, turn off the screen, but Amanda can put it on the screen as well. So she really feels like a lot of people are going to end up giving her a hard time because there are a lot of scholars that truly believe Shakespeare did write all of his plays, and she very much goes down the road of, no, he didn't, and here's why. She anticipates getting a lot of controversy for this book too. Thanks again for watching my ARC review. August 20th is when By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult comes out. Me and Amanda are going to be doing a lot of ARC reviews, and we appreciate everyone who is watching the ARC reviews. And until next time.